lunch, I'll just do a crash course in face, tongue, nail. Because the very first thing he said when the guy walked in, he had red cheeks. Anybody know what that means? Rosacea, yeah. I can't diagnose though because I'm an ND, right? I don't know what you guys know. That's low hydrochloric acid. Immediately I would have known he was under stress. He was in sympathetic fight or flight. That's why he was so nervous. Right? So my protocol probably right off was similar to his. I would have hit his digestion. I would have gave him Betazyme at the end of the meal. Probzyme beginning, GI complete maybe, and I would have sent him on his way. 3 weeks later, I would have brought him back and start building on that protocol. So everyone's going to have a different approach, right? This was a very comprehensive, he has a 5-step, 6-step phase. That's awesome. When I had my practice in Tyrone, PA, we had 5,000 people with a mean income of $13,000 a year. I mean, that was how low economic we were. And I couldn't do something like this, right? Because people were coming to me when they've spent their last dime. So I'm going to teach you, that's why it's so great that Len and I are lecturing together. You can have a comprehensive formulation like this, and I'm going to teach you kind of like a simple way, right? Because I don't run all these tests. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't do fecal tests. I don't do all that stuff, nor would I know how to interpret them. I'm just being honest. I don't have his experience and knowledge, but I can look at your face. I can look at your nails, and I can look at your tongue real fast and know exactly what you need before you even say anything. Right? Those are worry warts. They worry themselves sick, right? What's the spleen involved in? Immune. So you worry yourself sick. It's true. They just keep thinking, Okay? Line this way over the top of the nose. There's a Fox News contributor. I can't think of his name.
I agree.
Thank you. I am like, oh my good. I know. I just want to go be like, come here. I just want to throw some sugar solve at him and some enzymes. I'm like throwing it at the TV. I'm telling you, never watch TV the same again. You'll be like, oh, he needs to call me. Right? When it's like this, okay, that's pancreas. Okay, that's your first sign that you got an issue with either producing enzymes or stabilizing blood sugar. Okay? So remember, the pancreas does two things. If it's not doing one, trust me, it's not doing the other. So when people come in with sugar issues and I start them on enzymes, you have to give them that talk of like, watch your sugar, because when you start taking enzymes, it can really help the pancreas start to produce enough insulin, and you may have to adjust your meds and work with your medical practitioner, right? Okay, this line here, spleen line. Okay, ladies, the deeper this groove,
Talking transverse or vertical?
vertical, okay? Legend has it, the deeper this groove in men, the better lovers they are. Just saying. I have no proof. Okay, this is why I should have my own Match.com. Now, if you have this, and you have a line that goes this way over it, that is the most determined personality. They are, and when they smile, see, Jamie, you should have known this when you hired me. You should have been like, oh, she's got one of those lines. She's determined. When it goes this way, they will fight with you day and night to prove their point. And you're going to listen. Don't hang up on me. I'll call you right back. I'll drive there. Like, Jamie knows. We've done that. He tried hanging up. I'll text him. He doesn't return. I'll drive to Pittsburgh. I was like, I'm coming. That's what's happening. Now we understand each other, right? So it's a very determined individual. This helps you because if you're working with clients and they have this very determined personality, what you say better work. It better work. Or they're going to tell all their friends it didn't work, right? So it's a very kind of kid gloves kind of approach with these clients. You just have to know your people. What did I miss? Oh, sides of the eyes, crow's feet. Those are adrenals, but you usually see them when the eyes start to set back in. You'll start to see those adrenals. Okay. This is busy thinking. When you have lines here on the head, those people, they never shut down. Type A personality, do it right, eat right, live right, work out right, sleep right, everything's perfect. Don't mess up their schedule. Do not. They are your most compliant patients. They will do exactly what you say. When you see this, you're like, all right, hallelujah. Yes, they'll do it. So that was a crash course there. Let's move to the tongue.
Can I just ask, which is the best?
What's that?
Which is the best when you're looking at someone and you can...
Whatever jumps out at you first. So other things you can look at, and this is easy just for learning styles, right? Visual, auditory, right? Read-write learners. Your read-write learners, they're going to come into your office and they're going to say, do you have a pen so I can write this down? Immediately, if you give them something you write down, they will follow it. If you tell them what to do without writing it down, they're going to go home and text you 50 times. What did you say? How about this? What about this? Right? Okay. With the auditory learners, you can tell them, but do not ask them to read anything. I am 100% auditory. If you tell me to read a book, I'm just like, ugh, really? Just come on audio? Can I get it on my Kindle, an audio Kindle, right? Okay. Your visual learners, you have to show them. This is how you take this, and this is what it does here, and how it works here. And then you can write it down and give it to them, okay? So just knowing, people that have really flat ears to their head, they're not great listeners. They're pretty selective. They hear what they want to hear. And if it doesn't align with what they think, they're not going to listen anymore. Nope. Okay, people with big eyes, visionary, right? She's a visionary. Yeah, you can see far, far. She does. She has good plans. She already knows where she wants to go and what she wants to do. Right? She'll make it happen too. People with big lips or just fuller lips, they're passionate. They're very passionate about what they do. Okay, so you have a client come in, fuller lips, and they want you to help them. Like, listen for 2 words, I think or I feel. If they say, well, I think this all started about 2 months ago, logical. You can talk logical. If they say, I feel this happened, they're emotionally attached to it. Now you get to talk about how they got here, emotions, all that kind of stuff. You get a new gateway in. Most guys are going to say, I think. Most women are going to say, I feel. If you have real tight lips, you don't talk about your emotions a lot. Okay? So people like that walk into your office that have real tight lips like this, you have to ask them the same question 3 different ways because they're going to lie to you 2 times in the front. Okay? They're just not going to, they're not comfortable talking about it. And it's not that they mean to, they don't know. So you have to say, so, what brings you in today? Oh, well, I just don't have any energy. Oh, okay. So what's your chief complaint? Well, I don't have energy, and I haven't slept for 3 weeks, and 3 weeks. What happened 3 weeks ago? Well, I got divorced. Oh, okay. Right? She could have said, I got divorced 3 weeks ago, and I'm not doing good at that. That's not what they say, though. I don't have any energy. But really, it might have been the divorce, right? If we don't ask the right questions, we can't get to the issue. Okay? All right, so go into the tongue. Is that enough on the face? I can keep going. How big your forehead is, how far apart your eyes, there's all kinds of stuff. All right, so if we go to the tongue, this is super easy because it's kind of a scaled down version. Bladder and kidney in the back. Okay, this also can be in small intestines. Liver and gallbladder are the sides. Then you have heart at the tip, then lung, and then spleen and stomach in the middle. Okay, so if somebody walks into your office and they have a real heavy line here, the very first thing I'm going to say is, can I see your tongue? Because I'm going to see if they have a line in the middle of their tongue. If they do, I have 2 spleen indicators. Now I'm going to ask my 3rd question. Have you been sick? Yeah, I can't get better. I got immune, and they walked in because they're sick and they can't get better, right? So it starts to tailor down the number of questions you have to ask. I can also ask them if they have stomach issues, right? Remember, spleen, worried, sick. Think about it, guys. If you're worrying, sympathetic nervous system goes up. Parasympathetic nervous system goes down. This is rest and digest. What does that mean? It means hydrochloric acid production. When you are in fight or flight, super stress, worry, oh my gosh, where is he? What's he going to do? I don't know what to do. Parasympathetic tanks, hydrochloric acid goes down. You can't produce it. You can't stimulate the pancreas to release enzymes. You can't assimilate your nutrients, and everything suffers, including your immune system. Okay? On the sides here is liver and gallbladder. If you guys take out your phones and take a picture of your tongue, you're going to learn so much about yourself. Okay? If you have bevels in the side of your teeth or side of your tongue, that tells me that you have a swollen tongue. Okay? It's not that your teeth are pressing on your tongue is swollen in your mouth. So that tells me liver and gallbladder congestion. Where else could I look for liver markers in this person if they have a swollen tongue and they have these teeth marks? Where would I look? On the face. Remember when you were little? You probably remember this well, and your mom would come and she'd scowl at you, right? I'm sure he remembers that. No, I'm just kidding. Your liver lines are right here. Okay, you ever see somebody, I mean, look at cartoons. When they want to draw somebody angry, right? They draw these little lines right here. They're just like, grrr. That's anger. These are liver lines. So if I see teeth marks, and you'll know teeth marks when you see them. You guys can spend some time sticking your tongue out at each other. And liver lines, now I got liver. Okay? Now I'm going to ask certain things that have to do with the liver, right? I'm going to ask things about, are you harboring any frustration or anger? Well, yeah. Really? That's shocking. Kid gloves, guys. You say that stuff on the inside. Don't say that outside. That doesn't turn out well. Okay? Lung is here. You ever see somebody has a real red tip at the end of their tongue? People will stick their tongue out at me and I'm like, oh, your little broken heart. Heart on the face is the tip of the nose. Bulbous, veiny, red. Okay? That's heart. They usually have a really big heart and they want to help each other and help everybody else and give everything away to everybody, but it's usually at the cost of themselves. Okay? So you would look for heart here and heart here. Does that mean they're going to die of a heart attack? No. It just means that they need support. Maybe power Q, right? Maybe something for circulation, CircuCore. It just gets you to more questions. But if that's standing out at you, if they have a real bulbous red nose and a red tip on the end of their tongue, I'd start asking more questions about heart history. Okay? Lung. You can see that here on the side of the face, kind of like sunken in cheeks, and lung here. Now, how would you see lung on the tongue, right? We're not real sure. If you have this line in the middle of your tongue, how many people have a line down the middle of their tongue? Okay, that's low hydrochloric acid. Where am I going to look at that on the cheeks? Right? Low HCl. That tells me that they're in sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight all the time. Maybe emotions, might be fighting something, right? But something is causing a sympathetic stimulation and a parasympathetic decrease. Okay, so I'm going to ask more questions. Are you under a lot of stress? Are you recovering for something? Have you been battling something for a while, emotionally or physically? Okay. If that line goes all the way to the lung, I know whatever they're battling is probably emotional. It's been there a while, and it's causing grief in their life. If it goes all the way to the heart, I know that they're also suffering heartbreak from it. And it just gets me to ask more questions. Okay? Back here, you ever see people with real big taste buds? Like huge taste buds to the point where they're like, oh my gosh, I can barely swallow, right? I'd start asking questions about intestinal health. Do they have reoccurring bladder infections? What's bladder, the emotion? Irritated. What do we tell people? You pissed me off. Do you think we just make this stuff up? Right? I'm irritated. It's an easy way to remember stuff when we're like, okay, what was the saying with bladder? Oh yeah, you pissed me off. Right? Irritated. Okay? Assimilation when it comes to small intestines, even stomach, it's something that you can't process well. It's not settling right in your stomach. Like I couldn't stomach it. You can't fathom it, something along those lines. All right, nails. Any questions?
What was the last one you just said? If you can't fathom it, it was...
Small intestines or stomach, it's usually something you can't stomach, right? I just couldn't stomach it, or it didn't settle right with me, it didn't sit well, That's usually the emotional connection. The line right down the middle can be spleen, stomach, lung, or heart. But if you're looking at spleen, let's connect it. Let's say a guy comes in and he has a big line all the way down to the tip of his tongue. I would probably look here and see if I had a stomach indicator or a spleen indicator. If I had a spleen, I'd be like, oh, whatever you're obsessively thinking about must have caused you a lot of grief and heartache in your life. And most people are like, oh, how did you know that? I'm like, well, you have this big crack in your tongue, you know. And I'm like, and I'm psychic. No, I'm just kidding. So that's basically how I'll connect that. So my point is this. Your health is a triangle. Your mind, body, and spirit. You can't separate it. You can't ignore the emotions of your client because trust me, walking out that door, they're going to stay the same person they were walking in, regardless of the diet you changed. When I did personal training, people would lose 60 pounds. They'd still tell me they're fat. That's here. Same thing with your clients. What brought them to your chair, if you don't change this, will bring them back 6 months later. It's just the way it is. That's why we did the NF for Life program. Anybody take that class? You guys missed out. You missed out. Anybody get our magazine? Reset, remove, rebuild, recharge. That's NF for Life. You reset the client, remove what doesn't need to be there, rebuild the systems that need rebuild, and recharge the client to become who they're meant to become. That's how I practice. So I would reset the mind, the food pyramid, and the foundations of health. I would remove negative emotions. I would remove foods that shouldn't be there, parasites, candida, whatever that was. Then I'd rebuild them, right? They're supposed to become with all our NF solutions. And then the recharge was really about, all right, now what, right? I feel good, except I have all these old patterns and limiting beliefs. How do I come over here and create new patterns and new beliefs? And so that's what those 4 magazines are. You can find those under education on our website. Scroll down a little bit. All right, last thing, nails. Lunula, I like saying that word. That means moon. How many people have moons on all their fingers? Okay, you shouldn't have it on your pinky. Anybody have it on the pinky? Okay, there should be no moons on your pinkies. You know why? That's a heart indicator. Now, guy comes in, guy walks into a clinic, has a bulbous nose, has a red tip on his tongue, and has a moon on his pinky. How many confirmations of what do I have? 3, heart. What am I going to go ask him about? If he's pooping? Maybe, right? Probably about his heart, his health history, what's going on? Any, heart history in your family, okay? This is also for women. If it's not on every finger, except for pinky, you don't want moons on your pinky. But if you don't have them, it's a sign of thyroid dysfunction. It's the easiest thing to go up to a woman and say, can I see your nails? And most people will say, well, wait, I have my nails done. And then your question is, why do you get your nails done?
Thyroid.
Look, she's like, I'm just going to be totally honest. Play the game. So they probably would say, they break, they're brittle. What's that tell you? Thyroid, assimilation, collagen, right? So then you just start unwinding the client, right? Okay, collagen, what builds collagen in the body? What are the nutrients that are associated with collagen? That's where I would go, right? And then I can save you, I'm going to save you $25 a month. You can put that towards your supplements, right? Okay.
I thought you just said just pay the girl on the way out.
That's right. I have nail polish for $4.99. So if you have a red band of color right above where that's supposed to be, that's liver. Anybody have red band? Now, when you look at your nails, don't do this. It's a circulation restriction. Do this, just like you're drying them, right? Okay. If you have a red band of color, heavy on your nails, that's liver. Where else would I see for liver? On the tongue? I'm looking for what? Teeth marks. I can also look for other things. People get ulcers there. Like it can be anything on that meridian. I had a client come in, she had black speckles. What do you think she got diagnosed with? Liver cancer. I sent her out. I was like, you got to go get some tests. She's like, why? And I was like, yeah, just trust me on this one. What about the face? Come on, moms, let's see them. What are you doing? Clean your room up, right? Okay, so liver, liver, liver. Okay, so if you have a band of red and then a real heavy band of white here, this is kidney. So you usually have like red, white, red. Liver, kidney, liver. Sometimes you won't have the liver, you'll just have the kidney. You'll have like this, it almost looks like your nail is like just like albino almost. It's just white, okay? What about the color of the nails? What if your nails have a really underlying white pale tone? What do you think that is? Hemoglobin, exactly. Iron, B12. Okay? What about the tongue? What if someone sticks their tongue out? No, I'm not talking about a coating. What's a coating on the tongue mean? What's that? Candida. You're not allowed to play. You're not allowed to play. I'm just kidding. Candida, right? What's the connection with candida? Overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Most of my candida patients, right? Clients, not patients. This wasn't legal to say. Scratch that from the video. Most of my candida clients with a coated tongue or geographical tongue, they're overwhelmed, right? What's candida connected to? What bowl? Bowels, urinary, lung, lymph, skin. Where's it connected? Lymphatic, right? Lymphatic's all about flow in life. People that have congested lymphatic systems have no flow because they're usually overwhelmed living for everybody else. You have stinky boundaries, people. I'm like, you need some boundaries. Here, try this word. No, say that word. Okay? I was a mean doctor, just so you know. Just kidding. Little like dots, like they're not topical dots, they're more like bevels. Like it looks like somebody like put pinholes. That's usually candida. Dr. Len talked about lines. That's usually assimilation of protein and nutrients. I'm trying to think. Oh, here's a good one. So this is the most amazing party trick. Are you ready? Okay, you're at a party and somebody shows you their nails and they have a line right horizontal across, like a divot almost. What does that mean? Does anybody know? Trauma, illness, stress. It's stress, some sort of stress. So the nail grows out in 6 months. So this person, we know like that's probably about 4 months, right? So at like month 4, something stressful happened. Just do that one time at a party. Be like, can I see your nails? You see it, be like, what happened 4 months ago? They're like, oh my gosh, how did you know? Right? I had them when I got sick, and my thumb was just beveled. You can tell so much about your clients just by looking at them, and I'll tell you, there's something when it comes to touching people. You know, when you can say, can I see your nails? And you can look at him. He doesn't want to give me his nails. So, you really have nice nails. You're good. So he has always lanula. Does anybody, now I don't want to put this out there and scare anybody, but has anyone ever seen black lines going vertically, heavy black lines in the nails? What did that end up being?
I have one of my friends, it doesn't travel the whole way.
Right, it doesn't travel the whole way. Sometimes it's trauma, you know. Oh, you just have a little black dot, you're fine. Sometimes it's trauma, you hit your nail wrong, something happened. I just went out of camera frame. Sorry, Gary, going back up. But if you do see real heavy lines, okay, it's probably something you want to send them out for testing. That can be heavy metals. And you strip out heavy metals, you'll see it in the nails. The beautiful thing about the tongue is it's epithelial cells. It'll change in 3 days. Your clients can go home and in 3 days have a whole new tongue. That's really powerful for them. For you to be like, hey, just check your tongue in like 3 days to 7 days, and the coating will be gone, the cracks are less, the tongue's less swollen. It's a very powerful tool. Underneath the tongue, if you flip it up, okay, what can you see under there? Heavy metals. It'll be purple. The veins will be very heavy, coagulated like blood. Okay, that's heavy metal indication. That's your crash course in face, tongue, nail. You guys have any questions? Go ahead.
Is the white spot on the fingernail a zinc
It depends. It can be zinc deficiency, or in women, if it's on the same finger, depending on the meridian line of each of those fingers, which they all mean something. We'll get into that later. But if it's just on 2 fingers, it's usually hormones. Where am I going to confirm it on the face?
Hormones, what do we say? Oh, the dimple, yes.
Yeah. You see it, like your body will speak. It won't lie to me. You'll lie to me, but your body won't. Go ahead.
I understand how the tongue changes like
Mhm.
really rapidly because of health improving or not. But the face, sometimes, I mean, is it just like
Takes a while.
they spent too much time in the sun and they've got serious wrinkles there or here? You know what I'm saying? Or is it
That's usually
always-
dehydration. So if they spend too much time in the sun and they didn't have enough vitamin C or vitamin D or hydration, then yes, the sun's going to be problematic, not because the sun's bad, but because their physiological health. So yes, that's where you ask more questions. That's why I look for 3s. I don't really talk about anything hot and heavy unless I see it 3 times. Then I'm going to ask. And it's just more questions. It's not a diagnostic tool. It's more of like me just getting to better questions faster. It really cuts down on time. Like when someone walks into my store, when they did, I would look at their face, they'd sit down. It was part of my mapping. Like I would do RBTI testing, I would look at those numbers, I had a Zyto, we would do scans, but I look at their face, tongue, and nail, and I'd circle 3 things. I'd go confirm it on my RBTI test, on my Zyto scan, boom, 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 and out. It was a lot faster for me to confirm it. One of the things I'll say about eyelids, and this is good to know, if you have people that have like droopy eyelids, that's protein assimilation. Okay, they need betazyme, hydrochloric acid, some sort of enzyme. If they have dryness up here, like flaky, eyebrows flaky above that, that's acidophilus need, that's colon health.
What is it called?
Acidophilus, probiotics.
Probiotics.
Mhm. I do like an SBC, maybe a superbiotic, depending.
Your feedback on the frenulum.
I can't, I'm sorry, what?
What's your feedback on the frenulum when there is a cyst on the frenulum?
Underneath the tongue?
Up the lip?
Oh, so a cyst, I'd probably say MTHFR.
From what?
MTHFR. Anything where the connective tissue of the mouth, so like tongue-tied babies, MTHFR. Easy. It's an easy test. My nephew, who's now 3, was tongue-tied when he was born, and I, at the time, very subtly, emailed my niece, said, hey, something to look at. So he's now vaccine damaged. But, you can only give the information. You can't make them use it. But when I look at stuff like that, like there's a whole thing on the mouth too, the gums, the teeth,
On the frenulum itself.
yeah, like a cyst.
Like a tiny cyst maybe on the top or maybe at the closer to the teeth.
Okay.
Closer to the lip. That means upper GI.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, lower to the lower GI. Yeah, because this is small intestine, this is large intestine. So I would say probably go more small intestine. Maybe parasites, lines above the lips here, guys. It's not just smokers, those are parasites. And you may not always feel them right away, but it's usually your first sign that there's going to be some issues later, right? Because parasites are going to take all your nutrients. Okay? All right, was that fun? Yeah? Okay, good. Yeah. There's lots of cool books out there on it. I have 3 that I really studied from, but I did a whole webinar on this. It's on the NF website under education. I think it's 2 full hour-long presentations with slides. I had a girl come in and help me on it who really loves face, tongue, nail. But I think it's like $60 maybe. It's not that expensive. Well worth it. It's a couple hours. You can watch it at your own leisure. But yeah, it's a good tool to have. Those old school tools. I love testing and technology and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes don't lose this. Nobody knows the health of that person better than that person in your chair and how they got there and what they're willing to do to get out of it. You know what I mean? Okay, come on.